Hello guys, my name is Clever Fist right here. So we have, you know, uh, a task one test right here. So we have the charts below show the ages of the population of Yemen and Italy in 2000 and projection for the year 2050. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. So this statement is always the same in task one IELTS. No, whether you're doing academic or general, it's actually always the what? The same. Let's first try to do this together and then see. So I guess we shall write here. So guys, before anything, first of all, we need to first make a plan. Guys, when it comes to task one, you first need to start with the introduction, which will be more of paraphrasing the title, and then we shall go ahead and we break down with the overview. The overview, you can start your statement with overall. It's clear that it is noticeable that, so this just gives you the overall trend. Most people confuse it with the title. No, this just gives you just basic overall trend. What's the highest, what's your lowest, what's the major difference or similarity. Next to the, we have the body paragraph, which gives the first significant feature, and lastly body paragraph 2, which gives the second significant feature. For criteria, task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. So what does this mean? Task achievement means you have to answer the question, and here we have the question, which was, the question was summarize. They told us to summarize by information, by reporting and putting only the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So anyway guys, let's first describe here. Task achievement, we want you to answer every part of the question. So here you have to answer all parts of the question, including telling you to write more than 150 words. Coherence, that means you have to be logical. And then cohesion means you have to put in linking devices, including complex, structure sentences. With coherence, just having the other plan which you've just described, which you've just described, is going to help you become logical so that the examiner can follow you through. So the lexical resource, a fancy word for vocabulary. So you have to have a range of structure sentences. Lexical resource doesn't mean that you have to use those complicated words. No, you have to just paraphrase the question, show the examiner that you have a wide range of what, vocabulary, language, all topic related vocabulary. So lastly, with grammatical range and accuracy, it's more with grammar. So for instance, you're going to see that here we have 2000, so we shall use past tense, whereas in 250 we shall use future tense. So guys, yes, this is what examiners want for a 7 plus. Guys, let's first go ahead and we make a plan of this. We have graphs on the right and then the question on the right, and then the question on the left hand side. So we have here for pie charts. So the best way is to first, as mentioned before, is to first describe how 2000 was, and later on the other paragraph to 2050. All right, guys, now let's get started. Guys, I'm so excited. So before we begin, we first of all we are going to first write our thing logically. First off with the introduction, the overview, body paragraph 1, and finally body paragraph 2. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. Yes, so we shall first start by summarizing this thing right here. The charts below show the ages of the population of Yemen and Italy in 2000 and the projection for the year 2050. So let's start by summarizing. So we shall say the pie charts represent population data based on age. So instead of saying the charts below show the charts below show the ages of the population. So we've said the charts represent population data based on age in Yemen and Italy in the year 2000 along with future predictions for 2050. Yes, there you go. The charts below represent the population data based on age in Yemen and Italy in 2000 along with future predictions for 2050. Yes, so here instead of saying and projection for the year 2050, we've said along with future predictions, all estimations, all expectation, whatever you can use. You have to vary your lexical resource, guys, for the year 2050. So that's our title is done. Let's skip, just skip one line. So the next stuff is the overview, and you have to get the overview from the data which you assessed. So from the data which I assessed, I can say, you can either say overall, then you put a comma, or you can say it's noticeable that changes in proportions of age groups are expected in both countries. So let's describe them, including an increase in the percentage of people over 60 years old and a decrease in those aged 0 to 14 by 2050. So that's our overview. It just gives you, it's like just a touch, a glimpse. It is noticeable that changes in proportions of age groups are expected in both countries, including an increase in the percentage of people over 60 years old and a decrease in those aged 0 to 14 by 2050. So this is just giving us that there are changes. So indeed there were changes, as we can definitely see on our what? On our pie chart right here. So guys, without further ado, let's now go ahead into the nitty-gritty of things. So let's, while using our summary that we did state, so we can vividly say that in paragraph 1 we shall talk about 2000, whereas in paragraph 2 we shall talk about what? 2050. So I'll definitely use my summary right here, guys. So as you can see, in body paragraph 1 we did state that in Yemen had half of those aged 0 to 14. So let's frame this real quick. In 2000, I'm showing the examiner that we are here. Those in the 0 to 14 years age group constituted, you can say accounted for, you can say made up of. All these are words, but you have to interchange them. So I've finished using constituted. I'll use another word You guys get what I mean? Yeah, constituted. Roughly can also mean about, approximately, just over, just under. All these words are just fancy words, guys. Half of Yemenis, the total population, while, so I'm also using another connective right here. So I've said 0 to 14 constituted half of Yemen's population. As you can see here, we had 50, so this is like roughly half, really. While only 14% of Italian citizens were included in this category. So I've done what? I've compared Yemen and Italy with regard to 0 to 14-year-old. Guys, it's like we said in the instruction. Here we have, by reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So always make comparisons, members. This will boost your task achievement, thereby boosting your band score. So guys, yeah, let's get started. So senior citizens made up less than 5% of Yemenis total population. Say in contrast, I'm not repeating my words. I said while. Yeah, I'm saying in contrast. In contrast to approximately a quarter of the Italian population. So here we're talking about senior citizens. These are the people 60 plus. Here we have them in gray. 60 plus is right here. So here we say that senior citizens made up less than 5% of, they are here, they made up less than 5%, in contrast to a quarter of Italians population. Here is less than 5%, here it was a quarter. You see how we are comparing members. Always compare. Don't just say followed by this. No, just compare. Yeah, we made a mistake. Let me first correct myself. So moving on, let's move on to, we're now left with 15 to 59-year-olds. So here we shall say citizens aged 15 to 59 years old represented. Are you guys seeing? Last time I said constituted, now I'm saying represented. You can say made up of, comprised of, accounted for. Don't repeat these words, guys. You're not going to score on next score results, so always change them. Yeah, represented Italy's largest group at just over 60%, whereas this group 15 to 59-year-olds, are you guys following me? Represented slightly below half of Yemenis inhabitants. So here we said citizens aged 15 to 59, like we summarized in our what? In our summary, represented Italy's largest group. Are you seeing largest group? It's right here, 61.60%, are just over 60%, whereas this group represented slightly below half of Yemen's what? Inhabitants, which is here, 46.3%. So, and here we are done with body paragraph 1. We've compared Yemen and Italy with regard to each and every age group. So now let's move on to this year, where we are even going to change the tense. Here we've been saying constituted, made of, represented, this past tense. Now here we are going to talk about 2050. So that means it's some kind of like future tense and estimations and predicting and estimating. So without further ado, let's begin. In 2050, it is predicted that the percentage of the population aged below 14 years old will decline to 37%. You can put these percentages in structure form, or you can just write them like that, but I think it's much better if you just write them like this. But either way, anyway, I can't judge. So in percent in Yemen, compared to only a 3% drop in yearly. So what am I saying? Here in 2050, we had those ages 0 to 14. Remember, we are starting with 0 to 14, we go to 15 to 59, and finally 60. Those are the senior citizens. So here we have that 7%. Here we are saying it's predicted that the percentage of the population aged below 14 years. So last time I said 0 to 14. Here I've said aged below 14 years, meaning I'm understanding whatever is being told. Will, this is future tense, will decline 37%, as you guys can see, in Yemen compared to only a 3% drop in yearly. Here it decreased by from 14 to this. Very simple, guys. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go on. Whilst here we used while only, so let's use whilst senior citizens, all those aged above 60 years, whatever you can say, are expected to almost double in yearly, they are likely to increase by a mere 2%, increased by a mere 2% in Yemen. So this time around we began with senior citizens, where senior citizens are expected to almost double in Italy. As you can see, they are expected to double from 24 44 to 42, they are likely to increase a mere 2% in what? In Yemen, as you guys can see, 3.6 to 5.7. So lastly, let's move on to the middle people, 15 to 59, the middle aged. Although the group of people for people aged 15 to 59 is expected to grow in Yemen, it will be reduced by what? You can either put a fraction or a figure, or be reduced to. So whatever you said, see here, you see here we used it will decline. So here we're gonna use it will be reduced something. Although the group of people aged 15 to 59 is expected to grow in Yemen, 15 to 59, these are people here in orange. It is expected to reduce from 61 to 46. It should be reduced from 61.6% to 46.2%. Or we can just simply say it will be reduced to 46%. It's either way. Or you can say it will experience a decrease of, what's the difference? A decrease of about a third. So guys, and there you have it, members. So let's first read through. The pie charts represent population data based on age in Yemen and Italy in 2000, along with future predictions for 2050. That's the introduction. It is noticeable that the changes in proportions of age groups are expected in both countries, including an increase in percentage of people over 60 years old and a decrease in those aged 0 to 14 by 2050. So it's been 2000, those in the 0 to 14 years age group constituted roughly of half of Yemen's total population, while only 14% of Italian citizens were included in this category. Senior citizens made up less than 5% of Yemen's total population, in contrast to approximately a quarter of Italian population. This is all got from my summary. So citizens aged 15 to 59 years old represented Italy's largest group at just over 60%, whereas this group represented slightly below half of Yemen's inhabitants. Instead of saying citizens, I said inhabitants. So in 2050, it is predicted that the percentage of the population aged below 14 years will decline to 37% in what? In Yemen, whereas or compared to only a 3% drop in Italy. While senior citizens are expected almost double in Italy, they are more likely to increase by a mere 2% in Yemen, although the group of people aged 15 to 15 years is expected to grow in Yemen to experience a decrease of about a third.